Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. Today we're just gonna jump on a quick live show here. The markets are moving a little bit. Ethereum has rallied up, 6.5% today against USD. It's currently up around 6% against Bitcoin, but was up around 7% about 10 minutes ago. So, Ethereum is moving. It does seem to have, found a little bit of movement again, and so I just thought I'd jump on a live stream here, look at the markets a little bit, see if you guys have any questions. If you have any questions, let me know what they are, and I'll try to answer those in the as I see them pop up in the chat. So if you guys can hear me, let me know so I know, because there have been a few times where I've been talking for a little while and it turns out I wasn't even streaming. So let me know if you guys can hear me. And then we'll go ahead and get started. But yeah, I mean, we actually just put out a video, right? Yes, I think it was last night, is when I released it. The Ethereum video that I showed, I think it was called like a price rally to remember. But it was basically looking, right, at some of the things going on with Bitcoin and saying, this is how they dance. It's like, Ethereum and Bitcoin have this, long dance, right, where one of them takes the lead for a while and then stops, and then the other one takes the lead for a while. And you see that time and time again, right? You'll see Bitcoin make a move, or you'll see Ethereum make a move, and then that one will, kind of stabilize a little bit, and then the other one will make a move. And, the whole point, right, if you watched the video yesterday, what we said was, if Bitcoin can chill out, I mean, even though it hasn't been there that long, but if it can chill out just in this region, in 10.8 to 11.2 for a little bit, then Ethereum's likely going to start picking up steam too. And this is exactly what we were looking for. We were below 320 not too long ago, and now we're pushing 340 or so. So the valuation is certainly going up. If you guys missed the video, you guys should definitely go see it. I basically went through these charts here on Ethereum. So do go watch that video where I actually talk about them in depth. But it was basically just looking at similarities between the last market cycle and then trying to project them right to this market cycle. And this this shows a couple sub cycles here. And you could argue that looking at the ROI based on the first low, so basically it's looking at this low here and then this low here and then going into the ROI of those sub cycles and then potentially thinking, okay, well, maybe this is another low here. Of course, it's somewhat arbitrary. I mean, I could also draw it to say, okay, well, once Bitcoin crosses the 20-week moving average and then never holds it or never goes below it for the duration of the bull market, what would it look like there? So maybe I'll show that in a future video. But I mean, this move here, right? I mean, this move that we're seeing recently, this is exactly what we expected. I mean, this is the move, right? I mean, this is the Ethereum Bitcoin move. This is what we've been waiting for. Business as usual. If you haven't seen this chart, it's just color coding the Ethereum Bitcoin ratio as a function of whether Bitcoin is above or below the 20 and 50-week moving averages. And then this one is the same thing, but it's showing you the evaluation in USD. So it's starting to climb. This isn't even updated, by the way, so it's even higher now. So Ethereum is starting to climb against USD and against Bitcoin. And the interesting thing is if we come back over to the chart, we're flirting with getting out of our band here. So if you zoom in, at least the way I've drawn it, right? I mean, we're right at the top. So the risk level is certainly getting closer to that ever coveted 0.5 risk band, which tends to be when we get into those risk levels, it tends to be a speculative bubble to some degree. I mean, you can see over here during these ranges where Ethereum came out of the band, right, and then moved, or if we draw it correctly, and then when it subsequently came back into the band, like that. So that was the first one. Well, I guess I should even go further back and say, okay, this, we made a move. We started outside the band, came into it, and then we moved up in the band, right? So this is our our Goldilocks accumulation region in a sense. We came out of the band into speculative bubble territory, and then came back into it, okay? And then we did that. So similar type thing, just more pronounced here. I mean, on a log scale. And then after we came up against there, guess where we went? Right back to the regression band. It'd be kind of interesting if these are forming like right angles, actually. Anyways, this is the next one, right? I mean, we kind of saw one of these, smaller moves. So that was one, and then straight back into the band. And then once we were in the band, we continued to move up through the band. So we kind of have these bubbles that form, right? I mean, we're out of the band, we move into it, and then we accumulate inside that regression region, our fair value, right? Another bubble, come back into the regression region, another accumulation, out of it again, back into the regression region, another accumulation here, back out, speculative bubble, DCA, dynamically DCA those sell orders, if that's the idea anyways, back into our fair value region, and then we're flirting with it. We're flirting with that speculative bubble region. We haven't really popped out of it yet, but we're getting close. I mean, this is, if you look by by the actual exact number, the upper part of it is 336. You can see it right here. So it's 336.84. So by this, we've actually just exited the way that I've drawn this. The risk obviously is still as I said, it still isn't that high. But again, another accumulation region, one for the record books, as we said, the accumulation region of a lifetime. I made a video on that a couple weeks ago when we were at our fair value, right? If you guys saw that, it was basically in this region saying, okay, we're at our fair value, accumulation region of a lifetime. Now we've moved up to the top of it, and now naturally, right now, I'm getting inundated with questions about, oh, should I buy Ethereum? And this is to kind of give you a little bit of taste, right, of what it was gonna look like in 2 or 3 years. No matter how many videos I make now, there's probably going to be 10 times the amount of people flooding in a few years asking if they should buy Ethereum at $5,000 or if they should buy Ethereum at $3,000. And this is the thing. It's like, how do you answer that? No, right? I mean, if you can go gamble, but I don't offer financial advice. Buying Ethereum at $5,000 would certainly be a mistake for my impression. At least during this market cycle, it would be. Maybe during the next market cycle, a $5,000 Ethereum would be an okay price point. But this market cycle, I would not suppose that it is. This is business as usual. We're still at the top of the band, basically. I mean, even if we were to come back down, it kind of gives you a taste, right? It gives you a taste of what it's going to be like. And again, if you zoom out and look at the larger picture, I mean, this move here is very small. Like the move that we've seen recently, that candle, these two candles, I mean, it's about a 40% move. But this is hardly anything compared to some of these moves that we've had. And we've said that we're likely not going to see a move like we've had, in such a short period of time. I mean, that was a 6,300% move. If you go all the way to the top, it was a 24,000% move, approximately a 24,000% move. And then from this regression band here, from the low to the high, was around a 4,000% move. And then this one here, we draw yet another one. So from our fair value in here to the high, this was a 300% move. Okay, so I don't expect to see any crazy moves like the ones we saw last market cycle, but it doesn't mean that you won't see a significant increase in valuation if Bitcoin continues to remain healthy. And that's the again, it's not rocket science. It's just looking at the data. It's data science and saying, we've looked at the charts. We know that Bitcoin and Ethereum like to dance, and Bitcoin is chilling out at 10.8 to 11.2. Ethereum consolidated nicely when Bitcoin is moving. We know that the Ethereum Bitcoin ratio, it seems to, had a longer term shift, like a momentum shift, if you will, over the macro scale, from this downtrend here to moving sideways for a bit, and then, starting this uptrend, and hopefully into and holding our next accumulation phase. So I would essentially call this here our future reaccumulation phase. And it's going to look like one of two things if the market if Bitcoin stays healthy, it's going to either look like, or this is my guess, it's either going to look like this, where we just kind of, we really just slowly move up through the regression or through that accumulation region until maybe we break out. Or, because we know that crypto likes to experience bubbles, maybe there's a shorter term speculative bubble where it comes up and then it comes back down into the new reaccumulation region. And then when you look back on it, if we switch this over to, say, a weekly time frame, and let's zoom it in here a little bit. And then, if this does play out, then it becomes very obvious that you look back on it and say, wow, what an accumulation region that was. What a time for Ethereum to be as valued as low as 0.016 or 0.017, and then now it's already 0.03, 04, and climbing. So we have a long way to go for the market cycle. I think things are likely just getting started. Remember, none of us here are clairvoyant. None of us know what's going to happen, but it's how you react to what happens that's important. So be on the lookout, not saying it has to happen, but be on the lookout for one of those speculative bubbles that might pop up during, even potentially during 2020. And it's not, I don't think it would be the bubble that's going to drive the entire market cap of crypto up to $10 trillion. I think that's coming later, much later, probably like 2023 or so. But, it could be, there's nothing wrong with something going up a couple 100%, taking some profits, diversifying that somewhere else, waiting for Ethereum to come back down, and reaccumulating, right? This is the idea of investing. You take the profits when you can, you enter the market when you can. There is, there's something called the time value of money. Money, the amount of time money is sitting in something, there's value to that. So just keep that in mind. Let me know what questions you guys have, because I'll try to start to answer some soon. Yeah, and see, these comments are, I think maybe it's a joke, but it's like, people were so lucky to buy under 100. I see that in the comments. This is the same narrative, right? That it'll be for a long time if the markets continue to go up. And it was kind of that meme that I posted or I showed on one of the videos recently, where it's like, this guy, he's holding a Bitcoin in his hand, and he's holding it through 2018 during these treacherous times, holding it through the all-time high, right, in 2018, and then not cashing out, or 2017 not cashing out, and then it shows him dealing with like comets raining down on him in March of 2020, and he's like weathered all this stuff, right? You become battle hardened to all these major moves in Bitcoin or Ethereum, and then no matter what happens, right, it seems like the markets do trend upwards. So then at some point you get these people from the outside saying, "Oh, you're so lucky you bought at those levels," and he's like, you look at them and he's like, you have no idea. It was not that easy, buying when everyone's selling. If you're not familiar with the markets, it's not easy. It's in hindsight, right, where it looks smart, or you start to realize that when you wake up and you're down 50%, if your first thought is I need to go sell Bitcoin, then this probably isn't the right market for you. If your first thought, on the other hand, is, like, oh goody, everything's on sale, then maybe you are cut out for the market. But again, crypto has a way of chewing people up and spitting them out. And you know, if you're not careful, then you're going to be one of those people, you know. So again, there's really nothing wrong with just buying and holding long term, and potentially buying, right, dynamically based on the risk metric that I talk about, or something that you like to follow. And so this is the general idea. So Ethereum, we're seeing a breakout. It seems like you know, we still have a little ways to go. I did make a video, I think like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Maybe some of you guys saw it. When Ethereum was at 235, I mean, this was 2 weeks ago, I think. And basically putting on like a mid-market cycle prediction, not based on, you know, just what my feelings tell me, because those are irrelevant. But just saying, okay, well, we saw this in the last cycle. Let's do some somewhat dubious extrapolations, and maybe it comes out to a 750 Ethereum. Of course, I'll be selling some before then. Obviously, not my entire stack, and you can see Ethereum just popped above 340. But you know, this is the idea: take profits when you can, and recognize that moves, you know, when they go up and up, they're not going to last forever, and you need to embrace that reality. This is the key thing. You need to embrace that reality. And it was similar to actually the other day when I made a Tesla video. So if you guys follow Tesla, I have a similar type regression line here, and it's actually similar to, you know, to Bitcoin. So, you know, this is the Bitcoin regression line, right? You guys are familiar with that. So our buy region and then our sell region. So Tesla, I was showing, you know, it had the price moved into the sell region around $1,800. I said, you know, this is likely we're getting close to the top here. And of course, the squawkers came out and cried FUD, and that I didn't believe in Elon Musk, because, you know, how could I have the audacity to say that Tesla would ever go down? But let me just briefly pull up the chart so you guys see what I'm talking about. And if you don't care about Tesla, that's fine. Just use this as a learning opportunity, if anything, right? Use it as an opportunity to say, you know, this stuff it's not just crypto, right? I mean, we've seen this stuff in other markets. This is the idea. This is Tesla. This is going up into that sell region, right? And me making a video on this day when it was $1,800 and saying, okay, guys, this is likely getting close to the top, if not at the top. You know, it might be time to consider taking some profits. And you can see, you know, there's plenty of Tesla videos that I publish that no one watches, where you guys can see this, but just take this lesson and you know, apply it to crypto, right? I mean, we know these things aren't going to go up forever, even though when they start moving, it can feel like they will. So stay level-headed and just, you know, stick to the plan. Try not to deviate from the plan. Try not to get so distracted with everything being shilled constantly. And just, I would say, stay with the plan. All right, what questions do you guys have? Yeah, so someone said, do you expect Bitcoin to make a run for it when ETH is done, when Ethereum is done? This is, you know, this is one of those things where they dance with each other, right? If you see Ethereum make a move like it is right now, and let me go ahead and pull up, let me pull back up the Bitcoin chart, because I know most of you don't care about Tesla. Okay, so we're pulling up the Bitcoin chart. So yeah, so with Bitcoin, you know, as long as if Ethereum makes a breakout, like a continued breakout, and you see it going to 350, 360, it doesn't even have to do that, really. I mean, a 7% move in a day is already, you know, you might say, well, it might not be worth getting out of bed for, but it's a good thing to keep the rally going, right? It's a good thing to say, you know what, maybe this there's going to be a continuation to this, and it's not just going to be dead in the water at 320. And then going back down. Maybe we're about to pop out into the speculative bubble that we've been saying is a real possibility for this summer for a while now. So, I mean, this is I think a really good move. So yeah, I mean, if Ethereum stays here if you see Ethereum stay at 340 or move up and then kind of consolidate there, then yeah, I think that would be a good thing for Bitcoin, and that then Bitcoin would likely start to make a move. And then if that happens, right, if you first see the Ethereum, say the Ethereum Bitcoin ratio go up again, maybe if it climbs from where it currently is, and it reaches, say, a new local high, and then it kind of stops moving a little bit, then yeah, I would probably anticipate then Bitcoin to make a move and the Ethereum Bitcoin ratio to bleed again. This is likely what I would expect. So that was a good question. Someone said, I'm gonna rephrase it. Will my altcoins prevail? I don't know, man. This is one of those things where it's a distraction, and some of those altcoins, if you want to go Uniswap hunting or something, maybe you find some gems that do well for you, but you're probably going to find some that don't. This is one of those key examples of you're getting into the market at a key time where there's probably a lot of money to be made over the next several years. And instead of sticking with, say, a plan to say these coins that you really feel like are game changers, instead you look to see what the shill of the day on Reddit is, and you just go by that. And sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't. And then when the times it doesn't, you're losing a lot of potential Ethereum, but then there's an opportunity cost on that. So for every dollar you lose today, you're maybe losing $10 or $50, 5 years or 3 years from now or something. So this is one of those games that people play, right? It's easy to get distracted in the market. The reason why, right, is when the markets move, then everyone gets this idea that they can go print an ERC20 token. And let me dispel a myth, guys. I mean, I think some people just see ERC20s, you see a new one launching, and you just think it has to be valuable, you're going to get in at the ground floor. I mean, I'm not going to do it right now, but I could show you can make an ERC20 in about 5 minutes. It doesn't take long. A 7th grader could print an ERC20, give it a cool name, develop a nice WordPress site, right? And then it makes it look like legit, but at the end of the day, most of them are just not at all worth your time or energy. It doesn't mean they're not going to go up, because if you get a lot of dumb money buying it, of course some people are going to be making money off of it. But most of them are completely worthless, and they're at the end of the day, they're just going to go to zero. If you want to play around with them and try to turn a quick buck on them, you can. But again, you don't need crypto to do that. They do have there's other ways you can gamble money, which I'm definitely not promoting. What other questions do we have? So, one of the questions I get, and I'm going to go, I see them a lot in the chat, okay? And normally I tell you guys about my my main Telegram channel, right? So I'll go ahead and put the main Telegram channel in the chat. Join that. So I just put it in the chat. But there's another chat that I have that probably most of you don't actually know about. And what it is let me see if I can find it. So the other chat that I have is actually into the Cryptocosm. So you won't find me very active in the chat, because I have a lot of other things I have to worry about than talking about random low market cap coins with you guys. But if you want to join it, I just put the link to that one in the chat as well. So it's called Into the Cryptocosm. So we have around 400, maybe 300 to 400 people in that chat. And basically, if you have questions about altcoins that I'm not talking about, or you really just want an opinion on it besides just sitting there and looking at it, I think there's a good there's a decent group of guys. It's basically a subset of the main Into the Cryptoverse Telegram channel. So if you're sitting there with 3 different altcoins, you want an opinion on it, I'm not going to give you my opinion on it. So if that's your goal, then forget about it. But if you just want to talk with like-minded people, check out the other chat that I put in there because it's into the Cryptocosm. And I just thought about that because it's like, you know, you're going into this really these niche communities and talking about these things that there's really no point in wasting time on in the main chat, so that we can kind of preserve the integrity of the main chat. But if you really just want a place to talk about those, you can check out that channel. Someone said, if investing $50 a week, how many cryptos would you invest in? 2, 3, 5? You know, I mean, this is up to you, man. I mean, I would, at least personally speaking, if I didn't own any crypto, I would start with Bitcoin and Ethereum. And then once I got a reasonable stack of that, then I would start to expand. This was a chart I showed. You know, these are the regression lines, right, of Ethereum. I for some reason I don't actually have the axes labeled, but it is interesting. You know, similar to Bitcoin, right? Each sub-cycle of Ethereum seems to essentially drop down a regression line. So the first one was the yellow line. This was, you know, the first half of the last bull market. It came down to the orange line, so one regression line lower. And then the next time that it came down, it came straight back to the orange line and then ultimately dipped to the green one and actually slightly below it. So it seems like, you know, every single time we're dipping back down, which maybe in the future we'll dip back down to a line that's lower, but potentially at a higher price since these are continuing to go up. They monotonically increase. So yeah, I mean, this was one of those charts I just spoke about the other day, looking at this and just feeling like, man, this looks good. Let's hope, right? Like, let's just hope that Bitcoin can hold its current level, because if it can, I mean, it really does help Ethereum out a lot. It's when Bitcoin stops moving or moves up and then consolidates, this is when these days like this for Ethereum really start to happen. So yeah, I mean, this is someone said, please show the Ethereum regression band. This is what this is right here. If I show you this one, now here you can see it as well, and this one it shows you extended out for several years, right? So the idea here is that the fair value of Ethereum is going to continue rising if this pattern continues to play out. So the nice thing is, if we do see a speculative bubble like we did last time before the major speculative bubble, and you see us come up to say maybe a few hundred dollars higher than where we currently are, if we ultimately retrace back into the regression band, well, by the time that we do, the fair value might be $400 to $500. So similar to the last cycle, if we see a short-term bubble, then hopefully, if we retrace, hopefully that our next bottom would be back in the regression line, but just higher than where we are today. And then ultimately going out into another higher, you know, ultimately going into another speculative bubble, and then, you know, potentially being overvalued here by 5 to 10x, and putting us between, say, 5 to 10,000. Now, I should say, you know, just because the last cycle had kind of like a two-part step to it, does not mean that this cycle has to. It could be that Ethereum slowly, you know, more slowly moves up, but rather than say this, you know, a significant move followed by a significant retracement and then another major move. Because if you look at Bitcoin, I'm just giving you guys a possibility here. You know, if you look at Bitcoin, during the 2013 run, you know, it had one of those moves and then a retracement and then a second move. But in the next market cycle, it was a little bit more continuous. I mean, obviously it's not smooth or anything, but, you know, it was a little bit more, this shape was, you know, just a nice concave up shape. It just slowly built out this bull run. So in the same way, if you can compare, you know, imagine you see this first peak, second peak, and then the next run was more, say, methodical rather than this noise. If Ethereum were to do the same thing, you know, you can kind of imagine something similar. You see, like, you know, first peak, second peak, or even you could call this first peak, second peak, and then the next one might be a more of a methodical move up, a slower move up, rather than, say, what happened last time. This is just a possibility, right? I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just going to react to it, whatever does happen. Someone said, how long have you been in the market? Well, I first learned about Bitcoin in 2011. I took a cryptography class in undergrad, and I learned about, cryptography. Naturally, that led me to finding out about Bitcoin. Got burned pretty bad in the 2013 market, and then learned my lessons for the next one in the 2017 market, and then I'm now trying to relay the information to you guys. And one of the questions I've gotten asked is people say, well, you only started your YouTube channel in 2019. The reason I waited until 2019 was because I was doing my PhD from 2013 to 2018, and I knew that if I started a YouTube channel while I was doing my dissertation, I would just never finish my dissertation, because I knew this would be too addicting, right? Than focusing on what my PhD was on, which was computational material science, like radiation damage. For those who want to know, it was radiation damage using molecular dynamic simulations and radiation damage, comparing those results to in situ transmission electron microscopy. So that was my PhD. Obviously, looking at this stuff is a lot more entertaining. So yeah, I mean, I was gonna start the live stream earlier today, and then I finally got a minute, so I started it, and then right as I was starting it, and Ethereum moved from 330 up to 340 or so, right when I started the live stream. Someone said, should I enter now or wait for a retracement? I can't tell you, man. No one knows. It's a random walk, geometric Brownian motion in the short term. No one knows if it's gonna go up or down tomorrow. All I do is I dynamic DCA. This is dynamic dollar cost average. I stick to that plan. I buy Ethereum up to a risk level of 0.5, buy Bitcoin up to a risk level of 0.5, and I don't think about it. It's not worth your time, in my opinion, trying to time the market in terms of when to in terms of, say, these exact minutes of when to buy. The reason I use the risk metric is to identify how high we're up in a speculative bubble, so that we get an idea. Okay, we're getting close to getting close to retracing. We don't know when it's going to happen, but it helps you remember to take profits. What other questions do we have? Herman said, why do you buy Bitcoin and not only Ethereum? Well, the answer to that, my friend, is risk-adjusted returns. Go check out my YouTube channel. Go to the search bar, type in modern portfolio theory. It'll talk about risk-adjusted returns. There's no such thing as free lunch. There's no such thing as a guarantee. Based on historical volatility and historical price movements, there is a reason to diversify your portfolio, because it improves the covariance matrix in calculating your efficient frontier and maximizing the Sharpe or Sortino ratios for your portfolio. So this is why you want to diversify. Someone said, yeah, so someone asked about the premium list. Yeah, you can buy it for 1 month and then just cancel. You can do that. If you're not familiar, I do have the premium list. I'll just go ahead and plug it now. I do have the premium list if you guys want to join it. I put out my thoughts on the market in a private Telegram alerts channel. So do check it out. You can find the premium list at intothecryptoverse.com. Again, I'll just put it in the comments over there, and you'll get access to my thoughts on the market more regularly. A premium report, a premium video every single week, and then also a risk dashboard. So I was talking about the risk levels, so you'll get access to that dashboard, and you can follow along with what I'm doing. Actually, we recently I just did it was a swing trade. So I sold Link at 805, moved it into Ethereum at 235. Then Ethereum moved from 235 to 320. I converted the Ethereum to Bitcoin at 0.0305, and then converted the Bitcoin back to Ethereum at 0.0292. And then now it's back up. So I mean, yeah, it's not for everyone. I don't do the swing trading constantly. But I just base it on the risk levels for the most part, or just recognizing, okay, Ethereum moved, it's consolidating, it's Bitcoin's turn. So just trying to slowly build up that way. So if you guys are interested in that, please check out the premium list into thecryptoverse.com. I will remind you that prices will be going up in a few weeks just because it's hard for me to keep up with all the administrative stuff with all the new people joining. So if you want to get in at the current prices, you'll be grandfathered in if you sign up. If you sign up in a few weeks after I raise prices, then you'll have to pay the higher price. But for current people, you get to pay the cheaper price, like for indefinitely, right? It's not going to go up on you if you're already a member. So just to let you know, for those of you who are you wish there was another way to get access to the premium list, there is one other way. I have a competition for a YouTube banner. The competition actually ends tomorrow. So if you want a chance at a 1-year subscription to the premium list, then go to the Telegram channel, the public Telegram channel, and read the instructions. And whoever submits the banner that I end up choosing to kind of be the banner for my YouTube channel, you'll get a year subscription. Someone said, can we DM you to pay you with crypto? You can. You can also just send me an email too. All right, what other questions do we have, guys? Yeah, and someone said, how often do you review your risk level and make adjustments? I don't adjust it. Maybe the one that I might adjust eventually, maybe Bitcoin after yet another market cycle, but I'm not adjusting them. It basically updates it automatically in terms of what the risk levels are. So I just stick to that. Someone said, how do you create your tools like the risk and regression charts? I mean, these are just tools I picked up during graduate school. I mean, just learning the math and whatnot. It's not something specific that I can just point to say, oh, I learned it at this point or something. Whew. Let me know what other questions you guys have. The thing about advertising the live show half an hour earlier is that I just don't often know when I'm going to do it. Like I have a really busy life. I have a day job. I have 2 kids. I'm married. So I do it when I get a chance, and it's really hard to know what's going to happen in 30 minutes. Like it's really hard to know. So it does actually look like Ethereum's coming down a little bit, 335. But remember, business as usual. We'll obviously continue to show updates to Ethereum as we continue marching on. This is right at the top again of our kind of like our accumulation region. If you see it, if you see Ethereum popping above around 336, 340 on the daily, then we are going to be having some candles outside of our buy region, right? I mean, then we would start having candles up here. And if we do go into speculative bubble territory, this right is when you need to be ready, because I do not anticipate Ethereum going to $5,000 this year or next year, or probably even the year after that. Someone said regression chart for ADA. I think I actually have done a regression analysis for ADA before. Just go look at the older videos. Someone said, how many premium subscribers would you need to inspire you to quit your day job? I mean, it's not about the money at this point. I mean, it's just about I spent my entire life getting a graduate degree to work that job, and it's more of a like a prestige thing, right? Than oh, I need to do it because of the money. If you're trying to contact me, you can go to my website, and there's a little contact form you can fill out, or you can just find me on Telegram. Someone said, "Do you really think it takes 12 to 18 months to reach 750, or did I misunderstand in your video?" I don't know. I don't know. I think it'll happen sometime over the next 12 to 18 months. I mean, it could happen in 3 months. It could happen in 18 months. I don't know when it's going to happen. I just think that there's a decent chance it will happen within the next 12 to 18 months, that we, see another 2x essentially from where we currently are. I reserve the right to be completely wrong on that statement, but that is just my opinion. I think that in within 12 to 18 months we will see like a $750 Ethereum or so. I mean, it might not sustain it for very long before it comes back down, before maybe a bigger push later on. But this is kind of where I would see things going over the long term for sure. And if it does happen in the short term, be right. If you see Ethereum going to say 750 in the short term, then be ready for a move like that. Don't just think it has to go up forever. I keep seeing people ask how old I am. I mean, how old do you think I am? Yeah, if the stock market does turn really bearish, I'm seeing a lot of questions about the stock market. If the stock market crashes, then it would probably cause crypto to retrace a little bit as well. I know a lot of people would like to believe that wouldn't be the case, but Bitcoin, again, as I mentioned in another live stream, because I get this question basically in every live stream. Bitcoin was not meant to be like a hedge against a recession, right? I mean, it's a hedge against inflation. Um, so if there is a recession, then I highly doubt, if the stock market is crashing 40%, I doubt Bitcoin is going to be going up 2x or something. Like, it's just probably not going to happen. Um, I, Probably a lot of you disagree with that statement, but that's fine. I forgot that I asked you guys how old you thought I was, and now I'm just seeing a flood of numbers. One of the question, or one person I saw said, this guy's either 20 or 40. I can't really tell. And for those who pretend to know exactly what the stock market is going to do, like, I see a lot of people. I've been saying this for a long time, right? I mean, everyone says exactly what they think the stock market's going to do, but most people did not. In March, had you polled people and said, "Hey, what is the stock market going to do over the next 5 months?" Like, how many people would have said the S&P is going to drop like 40% and then rebound right back to where it basically was? How many people would say that like the Nasdaq was gonna drop like the same and then go to higher highs? Like, most people would not have predicted this. The reason why you always have an expert in the stock market who claims that they know short-term moves is because you just put out a different short-term prediction every day, and eventually you get one right, and then you take credit for it, and you just kind of quietly shuffle aside the ones that weren't right. So the stock market, I don't think you can say it's going to behave rationally based on the overall economy, and the evidence for that is just look around you now. Exactly. I mean, no one knows the markets in the short term reliably. This is my opinion. Not reliably. Of course you're gonna, I mean, when you look at a chart, right? If you just look at a chart, hindsight makes it easy, right? You can actually let me flip over to like a to say like one of those, because you have a lot of people that pull up these shorter time frames, right? Let's pull up a 1 hour time frame, which I don't think I've ever done on this channel. So let's. So I mean, yeah, like a lot of times you'll get people that pull up these kinds of charts, and they'll come up with all sorts of analysis to say, let me even pull up a smaller time frame. Believe it or not, I've seen people show these like 1 minute or 15-minute. Let's do 15-minute time frames before. And I mean, of course, this is what what day traders would use. But when you look at things, you can easily say, oh, you can draw the line, right? You can say, bottom and double bottom or something. But there's so many times, right, where that wouldn't have been the case. Like if you had said, oh, we bottomed here. You draw another line and say, okay, we had a bottom here. Oh, second bottom, but it didn't stop it from continuing on down. So it's all about hindsight. It's all about looking at the chart and saying, oh yeah, double bottom or double top. But until you see it, it's really hard to identify it as it's happening. This is my opinion. I'm sure some of you guys are day traders and are just like wanting to pull your hair out right now because it is of your opinion that I'm like doing something wrong on my end. But this is my opinion and it's my channel, so I reserve the right to express my opinion on my channel. What other questions do we have? Someone said they really liked the Euro USD Ethereum video. Do I generally look at it in other perspectives? Yeah, so I look at a lot of different markets. I do look at Forex and stock markets. I just launched the channel on cryptocurrency because I feel like this was the main channel, or this was the main area that wasn't saturated with useful analysis. Note I said useful analysis. Of course, there's, finding a crypto YouTuber that is doing day trading is not hard to do. Is not hard to find. But I just thought that there really wasn't enough useful analysis out there on the crypto markets looking at, say, the macro scale. And this is why I decided to really launch the channel looking at cryptocurrency rather than, say, looking at like Forex or stocks or, real estate or commodities. I'm not into real estate. I actually don't own any real estate right now. The reason is because I just would rather my money grow in the market than have to worry about being a landlord or anything like that. And I think you end up making a lot more money just keeping it in the market anyways. But I do know there's a lot of people that would swear by real estate. Generally speaking, what I'm hoping will happen, right, during this cycle is that the crypto markets will do really well, more or less, right, over the next few years. Of course, there's going to be some downtimes. There's going to be some 30 to 40% crashes over the next few years, maybe even worse. But I'm hoping, right, that by the year, say 2023 or so, that we've seen a significant ROI, we cash out of crypto and say, leave the bear market to the dumb money flooding in, because no one, if you're watching this channel right now in 2020, then whenever the next bear market is, like if it's say 80% down from a new paradigm shift in the market, you have no business being part of that bear market. Just figure out now if you're going to have the resolve to get out of the market before that happens. So the general idea is to, and as I've shown you guys, I'm starting to expand the channel, talk about Forex, talk about stocks, commodities, So I'm going to do that. We're certainly going to expand on that. But I would really like to buy up a lot of real estate in 3 years or so. So this is my general plan. I think it would be a timely move in terms of say hopefully interest rates staying low, potentially people kind of like the exodus of people from big cities into like the suburbs, because you don't have to, if people don't have to work in an office, right? If they can work remotely, then who's going to pay $4,000 a month to live in a single bedroom apartment in San Francisco, right? And if they can just work remotely. So the idea is just to time these entries into the market. And right now, I mean, the housing market, I feel like is in a very precarious position, because you have, I know I'm getting a little off topic here, but you have, you have a lot of people who have these mortgage forbearances, right, that are about to dry up soon. So people are going to have to start paying their mortgage. Well, and what happens when they can't? And then there's going to be a ton of commercial real estate on the market. That what business is looking to start up now, given the environment? So I just feel like there's going to be a ton of supply of real estate hitting the market in the next few months / like couple of years. So I'm not interested in getting into that right now. But sorry for the tangent. Someone said, do you see Ethereum at 350 end of day? Hey man, your guess is as good as mine. I can't tell you what's going to happen in the short term. I can tell you, like how I react to longer term moves. Like, I mean, I can maybe tell you what I would do at certain levels if it reaches that point, but I can't tell you if it's going to get there today. Someone said, this is a decent question, right? Like they said, why do you share instead of just quietly accumulating? So, I mean, I did quietly accumulate during the last market cycle. I have, right? I mean, I really like, let's just say like, it's nice to become kind of like an expert in something. I did the PhD. I proved to myself that I could learn something, become an expert at it, defend it in front of people who are professionals in the space. And this is my attempt, right, to come to you guys now and try to bring you the narrative that I see playing out, so that in 2023, right, when it's time to sell, or whenever that time becomes, like whenever, I mean, I think it'll be time to sell before that at various points, but when the party's over, in a sense, like, I can kind of make a name for myself in the space. I mean, this is the honest truth. I want people to, to know who I am. And I feel like the best way to do that is to bring people the message as early in the cycle as possible, so that they can benefit from it. If I make a YouTube channel and say 2023 or something, when Bitcoin's at 100K, and say, hey everyone, the party's over, it's time to pack your bags and go home, who's going to listen to me? Who's going to listen to that? Most likely no one. So by coming to you now, I can reference these videos in the future and say, look guys, like we talked about this for a long time. This is the way we saw the market playing out. It is played out like that. If that happens, if it does play out like that, we can say, okay, this is what our hypothesis was. It played out. Now, are you going to stick to your resolve? And hopefully that helps a lot of people. Hopefully it provides a better life for you and your family. And you're able to use that money to, have a lifestyle that you otherwise would not have had. This is my goal. And in the process, I want to make a name for myself in the space. And yeah, this is the goal. What other questions do we have? And I do see some lengthening cycle versus 4-year cycle stuff in the chat. I still do think that the lengthening cycle is going to be the tell of the cycle. One of the common misconceptions is that anytime Bitcoin pumps 20%, then all the 4-year cycle theorists come out of the woodwork saying, ha, I told you so. And then whenever there's a 40% retracement, they quietly disappear. Until it's been another, say, 18 months, we don't know. So it's a theory. The theory could be wrong. If it is wrong, then I'll tell you guys, this was the data that I had at the time. To me, it made sense that it was a lengthening cycle. If that's not the case, then I'll be the first to let you know. If it is the case, then I think we'll just see it play out over the next several years, and it'll just become more and more obvious as time goes along. Like, I can't, it's not like I can prove it. It's not like I can prove to you yet that the next cycle will peak later than 2021. I can't prove that to you. So we just have to wait. Let's wait 16 months and see where we are, okay? A lot of people asking questions about a lot of these small market cap coins. Remember, if you want to ask questions, first of all, join the main Telegram group. I'll go ahead and put that in the comments. So the main Telegram group, join that. If you want to talk about micro caps, which a lot of you seem to want to do, it looks like we now have 400 members into the group, into the Cryptocosm. So join that group. You can join into the Cryptocosm, and you can talk about these smaller cap coins, because I'm not gonna go over. I'm not gonna give you my opinion on literally every single altcoin, because there's some random person printing an altcoin every 20 seconds. If you're having issues getting access to the premium list, and just send me an email or send me a message on Telegram, and we'll figure it out. You can also sign up on Patreon, which you can find in the description below as well. Okay, so this is a good question, Lashet. I mean, he says, why would a stablecoin be preferred for microtransactions over a feeless, crypto like Nano? So, when talking about peer-to-peers, right? Like Bitcoin Cash, like maybe like Litecoin, XLM, maybe Nanos. I mean, they're niche markets, right? I mean, they're very niche. There's a good chance people are going to speculate on them during this market cycle. There's a good chance people can make a lot of money speculating on them in this market cycle. The issue, right, in the long term is that, if you're not in crypto, it would make a lot more sense just to have a stable coin be the future of peer-to-peer, okay? With a coin like, with other coins that are not stable coins, if people think there's a chance, right? If there's a chance that the value of your crypto is going to be worth more tomorrow than it is today, then you have less incentive to spend it. And if you have less incentive to spend it, then then you don't get money flowing through the economy. So then if people aren't getting paid, right? If I try to say sell you a gallon of milk for, let's say, whatever the crypto is, let's say it's one nano or one Litecoin, whatever it might be. Well, I mean, if it were one Litecoin, that'd be a hell of an expensive gallon of milk. But let's get the idea. Let's say one random coin. If I try to sell it to you for a nominal amount of the crypto, and you say, what, I don't want to give you that crypto because I think it's going to go up 2x tomorrow, so I'd rather just hold it. Okay, this encourages people to hoard their money. But if I'm a merchant, I need to make a living. So if people aren't buying it at that level, then I have to raise prices. So I think generally speaking, this could be a bad spiral. If people are not encouraged to spend their money, one of the reasons why people are encouraged to spend money is because of inflation. The idea that if you don't spend your money today, it's going to be worth less tomorrow. So we're all about, obviously Bitcoin is to combat inflation. But it's not like every aspect of inflation is inherently like a completely bad idea. I mean, by having more tomorrow, it encourages people to, say, spend it today. So it's not exactly like, say, like a black and white, thing. If everyone used Bitcoin for their peer-to-peer, like if the only thing accepted in the entire world were, say, Bitcoin, then people would hoard it and the price would go up. And people would then continue to want to hoard it because the price is going up. And therefore, merchants are going to have to lower their prices to get people to encourage to spend it. This could be a problem if you're trying to run like an economy. What other questions do we have? Someone said if the risk level goes to 1, would you really sell all your Bitcoin and Ethereum? Won't you hodl some? Yeah, I would be out of the market, man. I mean, that's just the way it is. I don't, I just I try to do away with the mentality that like, what if? Like when it gets to that level, I just stick to my plan. It's just the truth. Like I'm happy with that. You know, you chase it too long, you're gonna get burned, right? I mean, just be happy, taking profits when you can, because otherwise what happens? You don't take profits and then it crashes 80% in a week and it's too late. Someone said, what is the interval you use for DCing out of the market? It's not a specific interval. It's just based on the risk levels. If the risk levels hit the risk levels I need to hit for me to sell, then I sell. It's not like a weekly thing or anything. Someone said, reading any good books? Yeah, people were asking me about that yesterday. Um, I was reading, some of these, Michio Kaku, The Future of the Mind. It's a good book. There's other good books too. Um, I tend to stick to nonfiction though. Someone said, do you consider long-term versus short-term capital gains taxes in your selling decisions? Yeah, I mean, I do. It does somewhat to come down to whether you think it's more of a deterministic thing. Like if you know, let's say you know that Ethereum is going to a certain price, or you think you know it, then say accumulating a certain amount more of it through short-term moves could be profitable if that ends up happening. If it doesn't end up happening and the market really just moves sideways, or it doesn't really trend up as much as you think, then short-term capital gains could come to haunt you. So it is a consideration. There are certainly a lot of good reasons to wait for long-term capital gains taxes, which is a lot less depending on where you live. The reason why I don't talk about it much on the channel is because it really varies depending on what country you live in and what income bracket you're in. So because of that, it makes it hard to make a video on it where it would really be that useful to the vast majority of people. But it is, of course, something that you have to consider, short-term and long-term capital gains. I would warn you, that remember in 2017, a lot of people sold their Bitcoin. They accumulated a tax burden on that Bitcoin. Then they gambled it on altcoins in 2018 and lost all the money they made on Bitcoin, but they still owed the taxes on the Bitcoin gains. So you have to be careful. Like if the markets are skyrocketing and you're taking profits, and then you're literally putting all of those profits into other like micro cap coins, or you're speculating on 20 other projects, make sure you cover your taxes. You don't want to be one of those guys that sells it, reinvests everything at near the peak of a market cycle, and then you owe, capital gains taxes. Therefore, if lengthening cycle theory is true, then you're not interested in swing trading, if lengthening cycle theory is true, then you might want to consider to stop buying crypto maybe midway through 2021 or near the end of 2021. That way, that if the next peak is say the end of 2022, let's say at the earliest, then you're going to be paying long-term capital gains taxes, which is a lot better than paying short-term, because there's going to come a time, right? I mean, if let's say you buy Bitcoin at $30,000 and then it goes to 100K in 12 or let's say 11 months, do you really want to wait another month to potentially avoid short-term capital gains? I mean, there's some things called good problems to have. I'd rather pay short-term capital gains on a really nice profit than pay long-term capital gains on something that's say like 70% down from its all-time high. So someone said, do you see yourself staying in the crypto markets after the next cycle? So my general plan would be to to cash out, and then to talk, to really move to other markets, to let the bear market ride. Right? I mean, like, if you could have would you, like, if you could go back in time, I mean, most of you guys would have sold, like, you just sell in 2017, early 2018, and then you buy back in maybe on March 12th of 2020, and you just forget about what happened in between, right? Um, no one wants to be part of the bear market. It's going to happen again, and when it does, I'll likely just pivot the channel to talk about other topics, and that's why I already talk about other topics. We talk about precious metals. We've started talking about some stocks like Tesla. Sometimes I'll talk about index funds or the S&P 500. Sometimes I'll talk about, talked about oil a couple times. So watch out for the channel as we talk about other topics. It's not to say that I'm straying from crypto. It just means that there's going to come a time where we want to keep growing our money, and crypto is not going to be the place to do it, most likely. So it doesn't mean, I'm never going to come back to crypto again. It just means that it's like, it's time to get out, take the profits and run, return when there's return for better entry points, basically. You're welcome, Sammy. He says he's happy that I've been doing this. I'm just paraphrasing. I'm glad it's been helpful to you. Someone said, "Do you set aside the taxes on the swing trades?" I mean, yeah. Like honestly, everything I do, like I'm always setting aside taxes on it. I mean, like income, whatever it may be, I'm setting aside taxes. If it's a small trade, like 4 or 5%, I generally don't. I just pay it. I mean, I pay my taxes quarterly, so I just pay it when the time comes. I don't necessarily set it aside. If it's a huge trade and if it's a really large trade, then I would. This is just my own personal, like what I personally do, because on a 5% trade or something, which I don't really often do anyways. It's not like the norm, right, to make these trades. But if it does happen, if I make like a 5% trade, that's not really going to break the bank if Ethereum goes back down. So there's no need to do that. What could be an issue, right, for a lot of people is if Ethereum goes up 50x and you make a killing. Let's say you make like $1 million or something, or $5 million, and then you owe capital gains taxes on that. Maybe you owe $1 million in taxes, and then you go and gamble that $5 million on 20 different altcoins, and those altcoins go to zero. Well, the IRS still wants their money. It's really not their concern that you were bad with your money and you lost it. So this is really where you need to. I mean, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not offering financial advice. I'm not offering taxation advice. I'm just warning you now that you have to be smart. Be responsible with your money. Don't just gamble it away and not cover your taxes if it's going to be an issue. Someone said even during bear markets, aren't there opportunities for profit? There are, and there's a few scenarios where I could see myself coming in for a trade. But I would tell people up front that it's just like it's more like if the risk level gets to a certain level, like look back at say the end of 2018. Coming in during December, right at the lows would have been really profitable in 2019. So of course there's going to be times. I'm just saying, you might want to let things cool off for a little while before jumping back in. And if the crypto to crypto trades are too complicated and you don't want to worry about it, remember that every crypto to crypto trade is a taxable event. And because it's a taxable event, just consider that before you make that trade. So if you're wanting to make your taxes as make them as little complicated as possible, right? If you really want to uncomplicate your taxes, then the easiest thing to do is just buy and then hold and then only sell like one time or a few times, right? Like just if you buy it at say if you're buying Ethereum between say 100 to 300, and then you start dynamically DCAing out between like 800 to 4,000 or something, then that's the easiest way to keep track of it. If you're trying to squeeze out more profits, just know that it is going to come with a tax burden. This is something that individually you guys have to figure out. Like I can't tell you what is the right situation or what is the best decision for you. I mean, obviously there's people that day trade and swing trade, and if it wasn't profitable, then no one would do it. I mean, there's some people that are making profits from it, but again, it all depends on your own personal situation. And in some countries, the taxation laws are a lot better than others. So again, it depends on where you live and what your income bracket is. Someone said, would you be confident enough about your risk metric to make a huge short? So I've actually, I've decided for now, I really don't like talking about leverage trading on the channel, mainly because I don't want, I think that it's a good way for people to lose a lot of money. And I don't want to be the person responsible for someone like learning about, a certain exchange or something where they can go do it. So this is why I don't promote it on my channel, and I don't intend to promote it on my channel. So this is why I don't talk about that stuff. Someone said, I thought taxes were only applied when you withdraw, not when you exchange crypto. Every time you trade crypto to crypto, it is a taxable event. Yeah, and another thing about taxes, right? I mean, if you're experiencing losses, then they can help offset some of the gains. Again, I'm not a tax expert, so you guys need to consult someone else for this. I'm just giving you a general sentiment about what I've seen. I mean, a lot of people got burned in 2018 because they lost the money they made in 2017 and had a hard time with taxes. All right. There's a lot of tax questions. I, again, am not a tax expert. I actually have an accountant, so I would encourage people to figure out their own situations. Probably not on YouTube, but wherever you are, whatever your personal situation is. Well, guys, I mean, getting back to Ethereum, right? The reason why we're here, it has seen a decent move, and we're still at 337. Not long ago, we were sitting below 320. We're clearly going to watch this, getting close to that speculative bubble territory, though. I feel like if we come above this, we're going to be getting into that range where, it's a lot of movement in a very short period of time. Gray Matter, I'm happy you enjoy the videos. Yeah, so if you're a student, if you're say, someone says investing advice for low budget investors like students, I think the best thing is just to stay on track, and not get too focused on all these things that look like they're visually appealing. They appeal to part of your brain where everyone wants their ROI and they want it now. Just stick to the plan, because I feel like if you get too easily distracted by whatever the flavor of the month is in crypto, then it can really significantly detract from what your expectations of the market cycle could be. So, some people I've seen, they really struggle with, oh, well, I'm only putting, $100 a month or $200 a month. Well, the nice thing, right, is you're still, so far ahead of people that are going to be DCAing into Bitcoin in, say, 5 years, in my opinion, most likely. I mean, clearly there's a chance that we can go sideways for a long time. I don't think that's likely, but there is a chance that occurs. So if you're DCAing into Bitcoin or Ethereum and you're really not accumulating much, back in 2015, when we could buy Bitcoin for $200, you could put in $1,000 and get 5 Bitcoin, but it was just 5 Bitcoin. Now 5 Bitcoin is worth $55,000. So, and this is after a 45% retracement or so from the all-time high. So it's all about perspective, right? I mean, during this cycle, maybe you're a smaller fish. Maybe during the next cycle, you're more of like a medium-sized fish in the pond. So it's all about perspective. If you're young, you still have plenty of time, to accumulate wealth. I would just say focus on growing it systematically, so that later, you have a little bit more freedom. Yeah, please give the video guys a thumbs up. We only have 161 likes, but 481 people viewing. Please give the video a thumbs up if you find the content enjoyable. Someone says, have you ever been fishing for speckled trout? That's actually a funny thing. I've never been fishing in my life, actually. Not a single time. I've never been fishing. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel too. I do put out videos like every day recently, more than once a day. So do subscribe if you guys want, and then turn on the bell notification icon so that you get notified. I don't really know why I say that, but someone said, do you plan on making another modern portfolio theory video on other things? I was about to say, I already have done it on precious metals. We looked at gold, silver, palladium, and platinum. Mixing them, I'm probably going to mix them. The issue is that you have to compare like the same time frame, and things like crypto trade daily, things like stocks do not. So it really depends. I have to figure out how to sort out the covariance matrix for all that stuff. I mean, there's probably a way I can do it, but you have to compare apples to apples there. Yeah. Someone said, what do you think of the 1 million predictions in 10 to 15 years? I actually have a video that shows like when I could realistically see Bitcoin getting to like 1 million. It's a long time from now, guys. Like 20 years minimum, probably. Like 2040s, I think, would be when Bitcoin could get to 1 million. The 2040s at the earliest. All right, what other questions? Nick, I do use some other indicators, but I mainly just stick to my own charts. I mean, I prefer to look at things in a different way. There's when I started the channel, I really focused on like what am I gonna do that's different than what everyone else is doing. Like what is if I just come on and talk about EMAs or talk about Fibonacci retracements or talk about double bottoms, double tops, that kind of stuff. It doesn't really set me apart. So I wanted to provide something unique. This is why I just make my own charts for the most part. So these are my own charts, and this way I can kind of elucidate my thoughts on the market in a different way than you'll find on other channels. This is the goal. Yeah, Gray Matter says, hey, what about the Litecoin move lately? You know, we said this in the video. Like, I mean, Litecoin's going to trend up and down with the market. I don't expect a 5 to 10x, though, anytime soon. What other things do we have? Yeah, Sean, I'm not going to be done with crypto. I'll probably focus on other asset classes for a while. And this is the thing, you know, like once you make a lot of money, it's, you know, you just think like, oh well, this is good enough to retire on. No, I mean, my opinion is you just keep growing it, right? You get accustomed to the new normal, and then you need to get to the next new normal. So if your new normal is, say, you made $1 million during the bull market, then that is your new normal, and you need to get accustomed to that and think, okay, well, now that I have $1 million, how can I grow it from there? Not, oh, I have $1 million, now I can retire. Because really today $1 million is, I mean, relatively speaking, $1 million is not a lot of money. Like if you're 25 years old and you have $1 million and you decide never to work in your life, and you especially are really bad at managing money, that $1 million is going to be gone in a really short period of time. So I would say, continue growing the wealth. I wouldn't stop. I mean, I'll still make videos. One of the things that I should tell you guys about, is, basically, I make videos like every single day. This would probably change over time. Like, I'm not going to make 10 videos a week publishing to YouTube for 10 years. Like, I'm just not. Like, I don't have the capacity to really do that long term. I'm doing it now to grow my following. 2019 and 2020 are kind of like my years where I'm trying to grow it as much as I can. But once as the market cycle continues, I'm going to do less public videos and more premium videos. So people that are on the subscription thing. Because the thing is when I come to tell you guys, when I think is a good time to start getting out of the market, if I publish a lot of YouTube videos on that, they're just going to be downvoted, and people are just going to say, oh, it's just FUD. So I'm trying to come to people now and say, okay, this is my plan. So generally speaking, every year as we pass by, so 2019 and 2020 I'm just trying to just blitz out the videos. So you guys know who I am, know my strategy. And then in 2021, I'm probably going to reduce it a little bit. In 2022, I'm going to reduce it more. And then in 2023, it's going to be reduced even more. And as I'm reducing the public videos, I'll be increasing the premium videos. So this is the general idea. So yeah, I mean, again, if you guys want to check that out, intothecryptoverse.com. The prices will go up in a few weeks, but if you get in now, you will be grandfathered in. So, and if you have questions, you can always join the Telegram channel, and ask people what they think about the premium content and if it's worth your time. And believe it or not, there are people that email me and say, "Hey, this is my situation. Do you think this is a good thing for me?" And I'll say, you know what? No, probably not. I'm not here to to make you think it's something that it's not. Like, if it applies to certain people and it doesn't apply to others. So just, if you have questions, feel free to ask them. For instance, like if you're a student and let's say you're buying, $100 of crypto a month or $200 a month, it's probably just better buying it and holding and just kind of waiting. This would be a scenario in which case that would be true. I would say, you know what, maybe the premium list would not be the best thing. But it varies case by case. This is the general idea, though. It is a monthly subscription, or you can pay for 6 or 12 months and get a discount. Yeah. All right. What other questions do we have? Someone said, when are you going to make the risk chart for precious metals for the premium users? I keep meaning to do it. It would have already been out. The reason it's not out yet is because crypto has it's really started booming the last week, and therefore like the YouTube traffic is on crypto, right? And this is what I'm focusing on. Like I'm hoping to get them out within the next 1 to 2 weeks is my goal. Certainly whenever crypto calms down a little bit, which it will. I mean, we've seen this time and time again. Everyone here remembers February. February was a good time for crypto. March was a bad time. May was a great time. June, not so much. July is a great time again. It's just the market cycle. So, look for mainly crypto videos when crypto is really moving up, and people are curious about, okay, how do I, what do I do, or what is a tool I can use to help figure out, these markets. When the markets aren't moving in crypto, then look for, some other videos like precious metals or stocks or, other things like that. I saw this the other day, actually. It was some people are asking about like crypto funds. One of the things I saw, I think it's actually kind of true. If you think about it, a lot of these funds that exist, like a lot of these crypto management funds, a lot of them are run, and I'm not saying all of them, but there's probably some out there that are just like, it's just basically your average guy that happened to make a lot of money in 2016 and 2017 and thinks he's like a genius because, he made a lot of money and therefore is capable of managing other people's money. Certainly there's some out there that are not the case. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of legit ones. In fact, I know of a lot of legit ones out there that exist. But, these funds pop up everywhere, right? These funds pop up everywhere. Some are really good. Some are probably not so good. So you just have to be careful about that. Me starting my own would just sound like a nightmare of paperwork and management that I really just have no interest in dealing with. I mean, I get questions about this all the time. Like, are you going to do a tutorial on how to make your own charts? I mean, I guess if there's enough people interested in doing it, like I could maybe go through a series on making your own charts. But just in my experience, the more technical the video is, the less popular it is, right? Like that's why all the videos that say 20 or like 5 altcoins to go up 100x during this market cycle. That's why those videos do the best on YouTube, right? It's because people, you don't have to think about it. You just pull up a YouTube video. People tell you what you want to hear, and then you tune out and go about your day. You see a guy showing all the technicals behind something, then it's just not as popular, which is why I've been kind of resistant, because it's a lot of work, right? It's a lot of work to go through and say, okay, this is how you write the code and then generate the plot, and most likely it'll probably be, very underwhelming in terms of how many people actually care about it. I know some of you out there exist. Like, I know you exist, don't get me wrong. Just saying in terms of like being, worth the time investment, I'm not sold on that. What other questions, guys? Rona, I can't tell you what's going to happen in the short term, man. I just regularly, dynamically DCA into the market. And really, if some of you really are interested in the technical stuff, check out the modern portfolio videos on the channel. Like these, it's a more technical thing. You know, you're looking at risk-adjusted returns and your covariance matrix. So this is one of those things that most people aren't going to find it that interesting, but it's probably among the most useful content that I put out because it's actually based on something that is, you know, used by a lot of investment banks. And you know, it's the secret sauce, right? A component of, say, what the projected returns are that help you, you know, that make people a lot of money in, say, investment banking and like hedge funds and that kind of stuff. So far, I've just done like historical returns and volatility for projections, but eventually I'll do projected returns. Yeah, Dr. Loco says, I've noticed that usually Ethereum starts its bull run and then once it consolidates, Bitcoin starts running. Is this true? Um, yeah, I mean, I think there's some truth to the fact that they kind of dance between each other. But I'm gonna have to wrap it up, guys. I gotta go pick up my kids from school, actually. Um, so that'll wrap it up, I guess. Remember the premium list. I'll put it in there one more time. Check it out if you want access to the premium content. And then again, we do have the Telegram channel, the main Telegram channel, which I'll also put in the comments. And then finally, if you want to talk about micro caps, I'm not very active in the chat, but if you want to talk about them, I'll also put that in the chat. So that'll wrap it up for the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Maybe we'll do a video tonight. We'll see. But you know, Ethereum's been moving. We'll keep an eye on it. We're gonna be here. Give the video a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you next time. And then also check out the premium content again. And remember, if you want a chance at winning a free yearly membership, a 1-year membership to the premium channel, we are having the YouTube banner contest, which you can find information about in the Telegram channel. That'll wrap it up. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.